Hello all, welcome back to Forest Biology channel. So today in this video we'll be learning the plant kingdom chapter with NCERT highlights and PYQs and the most probable questions. So let's start without wasting our time. So the most important is in the previous chapter we learned about the five kingdom classification. So the earlier system of classification used only the gross superficial morphological characters such as habitat, color, number and shape of leaves, and this system was given by Linnaeus. This system is called as artificial. So against this, the natural system was developed, which was developed by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. So the name of this is important. This not only depends on the external feature but also in the internal feature like ultrastructure, anatomy, embryology and phytochemistry. At present, phylogenetic classification system based on the evolutionary relationships between the various organisms are also acceptable. So this assumes that the organism belonging to the same taxa have common ancestor. This is based on the phylogenetic classification system. And there comes the numerical taxonomy, cytotaxonomy and chemotaxonomy, which you should know. So numerical taxonomy is carried out using the computers. It is basically based on the number and codes which are assigned to all the characters and then the data is processed. Cytotaxonomy is based on the cytological information such as chromosome number, structure, behavior. And chemotaxonomy is based on the chemical constituents of the plant. So this is just the definition which you have to know. Next, moving on to the algae. Algae, basically they are chlorophyll bearing, simple, thyroid, autotrophic and largely aquatic. So in this algae, which one is important is colonial forms. Example is volvox. How do you remember this? See, COLO, 2O, volvox, 2O. And filamentous forms are other two, Ulothrix and Spirogyra. Then vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation, asexual reproduction is by zoospores, and sexual reproduction is by fusion of two gametes. This is important. These gametes can be flagellated and similar in size. So, flagellated similar in size is Ulothrix, non-flagellated similar in size is Spirogyra, and this is called isogamous. When dissimilar in size gametes fuse, that is called anisogamous, and the fusion between one large female gamete and small male gamete is called oogamous. So the example is volvox and fucus. How do you remember? 2O, 2O and 2U. So 2O, something 2-2 relationships. Okay. Next, this is the diagrams which you can remember because they may ask you to label it, label the diagram. So diagrams also is important. Next, why are algae useful? At least half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on the earth is carried out by algae through photosynthesis. This is important. They increase the level of dissolved oxygen in their immediate environment. This is important. And many species such as Porphyra, Laminaria, Sargassum is used as a food. So brown algae produces algin is brown algae and carrageen is red algae. It produces this. Then agar is one of the commercial products obtained from Geladium and Gracilaria. This is used in the preparation of ice creams and jelly. These examples are important. Chlorella is used as a food supplement in the space travelers. So there are basically three types of algae: Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae. First, Chlorophyceae is green algae, Phaeophyceae is brown algae and Rhodophyceae is red algae. You can compare and read, it will be easy. Chlorophyceae consists of chlorophyll A and B, Phaeophyceae consists of A and C, carotenoids and xanthophylls, and Rhodophyceae consist of R phycoerythrin, chlorophyll A, D and R phycoerythrin. Okay, you can just study the table or go through this as well. Then most of the members have one or more storage bodies called pyrenoids. In Chlorophyceae, they have pyrenoids present in the chloroplast and they are protein besides the starch. Next, the inner layer of Chlorophyceae is cellulose and outer is pectose, normal. The examples you should know: Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Ulothrix, Spirogyra and Cara. So this is the example of Chlorophyceae. Next, Phaeophyceae, they have xanthophylл pigment and fucoxanthin. Based on this, the color varies, and food is stored in the form of laminarin or mannitol, and they have cellulosic wall which is covered by algin. Then the plant body is usually attached to the substratum, that is holdfast, type, and frond. Holdfast is a substratum, stalk is the type, and leaf-like photosynthetic organ is the frond. This is present in Phaeophyceae. And you need to know that the gametes are pyriform shaped, that means pear shaped, and bear two lateral attached flagella. And you need to know the examples: Ectocarpus, Dictyota, Laminaria, Sargassum, and Fucus. Next is the Rhodophyceae. The members of Rhodophyceae are commonly called as red algae. They have arphagoerythrin, and the food is stored in the form of floridin starch. And the example: Polysiphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria, Gelidium, PPGGR. So you can remember this. And this table is most important. This is not important. The flagella number, habitat is not important, whereas cell wall, the stored food, major pigments is the most important. So these three parts are most important. Okay, this one, and this one, right? So these three are most important. Next, moving on to the bryophytes. Bryophytes include mosses and liverworts. So you have to remember this pictures. So in this there is a change. So this is Archegoniophore and this is Antheridiophore. How do you remember? Antheridio is male and Archegonia is female. So basically, if you see, this has open, you can imagine like fingers are open. In this there is nothing like open, it's mixed. So open is female, open finger is female, nothing like closed other than that is male. So this is Antheridiophore and this is Archegoniophore, and this is important. And you should know what is this and what is this also. This is Funaria and this is Sphagnum. So this is important, that the bryophytes are called amphibians of plant kingdom because these plants cannot live in soil but are dependent for on water for sexual reproduction. So they lack true root, stem, or leaf, but they may possess root-like, leaf-like, and stem-like structures. The main plant body of the bryophyte is haploid. Bryophyte main plant body is haploid. It produces gametes, hence it is called as gametophyte. Male sex organ is antheridium and they produce antherozoids, and female sex organ is archegonium. They produce a single egg. An antherozoid fuses with the egg to produce the zygote, and this zygote do not undergo reduction division immediately. They produce sporophyte, that is a multicellular body. Some cells of this sporophyte undergoes reduction division to produce haploid spores. These spores germinate to produce gametophyte again. So first it is a sporophyte, then that undergoes reduction division, that is meiosis, to produce haploid spores, and this spores will become again a gametophyte. So basically sphagnum is a peat moss. So this has been coming in PYQs also, and this is a most probable question also. Sphagnum is a moss, provide peat that have long been used as a fuel. This is used in packing material for transshipment of living material because their capacity to hold water. They can hold water. Since mosses form dense mats on soil, they reduce the impact of falling rain and they can also prevent soil erosion. Bryophytes are divided into liverworts and mosses. So liverworts, plant body is thyroid, example Marchantia. Asexual reproduction is by fragmentation of thalli with the specialized structure called gymma. So gymma cups are located on the thalli, and the gymma become detached from the parent body and germinate to form a new individual. So during sexual reproduction, what happens is male and female sex organs are produced either on the same or on the different thalli, and the sporophyte is again differentiated into foot, seta, and capsule. There it was holdfast, holdfast, type, and frond, and here it is foot, seta, and capsule. After meiosis, the spores are produced within the capsule. These spores germinate to form the free-living gametophytes in case of liverworts. In case of mosses, there are basically two stages. The first stage is the protonema stage, which develops directly from the spore, and the second stage is the leafy stage. Here it develops from the secondary protonema as a lateral bud, and this stage bears the sex organs. Vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation and budding in the secondary protonema. Okay, and in sexual reproduction, the sex organs Antheridia and Archegonia are produced at the apex of the leafy shoot. So after fertilization, the zygote develops into a sporophyte consisting of foot, seta, and capsule. And the sporophyte in mosses is more elaborate than in liverworts. This is also important. They may ask which is more elaborate, mosses or liverworts. And the mosses examples are Funaria polytrichum and sphagnum. Sphagnum is called peat moss. This is also important. Next, moving on to the pteridophytes. The pteridophytes includes horsetails and fern. Okay, bryophyte includes liverworts and mosses, and this includes horsetails and fern. And this is mainly used for ornamentals and also used for medicinal purposes and soil binders also. So these are the first terrestrial plants to possess vascular tissue, that is xylem and phloem. Bryophytes were the amphibium of plant kingdom, and this is the first terrestrial plants to possess vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem. Next, pteridophytes, the main plant body is sporophyte, which is differentiated into true root, stem and leaves. In bryophytes, there was no true, it was root-like, leaf-like and stem-like. Here it is well differentiated. And the leaves in pteridophytes are small, as in Selaginella, or large, as in ferns. The sporophytes bear the sporangia that are subtended by leaf-like appendages called sporophylls. In some cases, this sporophyll may form distinct compact structures called strobili or cones. For example, in Selaginella and Equisetum. The sporangia produced by spores undergo meiosis in spore mother cells, and these spores germinate to give rise to the prothallus, that is nothing but prothallus. These gametophytes require cool, damp, shady places to grow. For this, they need water for fertilization. So even in this, they need water for fertilization. The spread of living pteridophytes is limited and restricted to a narrow geographical region because they need water for fertilization. So what happened here is male organ is Antheridia, female sex organ is Archegonia, and water is required for the transfer of antherozoids. And the male gametes released from the Antheridia to the mouth of Archegonium. What happened here is a fusion will happen and the zygote are formed, which is the dominant phase of the pteridophytes. All the spores, if they are of similar kind, it is called homosporous, such as if they are similar, it is called homosporous, and if they are different kinds of spores, such as large and small, they are called heterosporous. Example is Selaginella and Salvinia. So they'll ask you which are heterosporous. You can choose this option. The development of zygotes into young embryo take place within the female gametophyte. So this event is a precursor to the seed habit, considered an important step in the evolution. So this is classified into 4 more classes: Coelopsida, Lycopsida, Cephalopsida and Pteropsida. So you can remember the examples easily because it is almost the same. Next, moving on to the gymnosperms. So gymno means naked, sperm means seeds. They don't have a wall, they are naked seeds. The ovules are not enclosed by any ovary wall, so seeds are also naked. These gymnosperms include medium-sized trees or tall trees and shrubs. The giant redwood tree sequoia is one of the tallest tree, and they form association with roots like mycorrhiza, that is pinus, and cycas is associated with nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. So the cycas small specialized roots called corallo coralline roots, which are associated with nitrogen fixing bacteria. And the stems are unbranched in cycas and branched in pinus and cedrus. So you have to remember this example. In conifers, the needle-like leaves reduces the surface area. They might ask what is the use of the needle-like leaf. So it helps in reducing the surface area. Their thick cuticle and sunken stomata also help to reduce the water loss. Next, the gymnosperms are heterosporous. They produce haploid microspores and megaspores. So they also have strobili or cones. The strobili bearing the microsporophylls and microsporangia are called microsporangiate or male. Micro is male, and this will reduce into a gametophyte, which is called a pollen grain. And the cones bearing the megasporophylls with ovules or megasporangia are called macrosporangiate or female strobili. The male or female cones or strobili may be born on the same tree. This is also important. This was also a PYQ. So if it is on the born on the same tree, then it is example is Pinus. If it is on different tree, it is Cycas. The nucleus is protected by envelopes and the composite structure is called an ovule. The megaspore mother cell divides meiotically to form 4 megaspores, such as in angiosperms also. One of the megaspores enclosed within the megasporangium develops into a multicellular female gametophyte that bears 2 or more archegonia or female organs. So only one becomes functional. Unlike in bryophytes and pteridophytes, in gymnosperms, the male and female gametophyte do not have any independent free living existence. So the pollen grain is released from the microsporangia. They are carried in air currents. There is no water here, only air currents, and it will reach the ovule. And the pollen tube carries the male gametes towards the archegonia in the ovule, and they discharge their contents near the mouth of the archegonia. They later fuse zygote forms to develop into an embryo, and the ovule develop into seeds, and these seeds are naked, that is, they're not covered. Next, moving on to the last part, that is angiosperms. So in the angiosperms, the pollen grains and ovules are developed in the specialized structure called flowers. So this is important. And the seeds are enclosed in the fruits. Here there is a ovary wall. So here also their seeds are not naked. And the smallest is Wolffia to tall trees up to eucalyptus. And they're divided into 2 classes, dicot and monocot. And this is not much important. If you can remember. So I have completed almost the main important points of the plant kingdom in a lesser duration. Please complete your revision part. Thank you all. Please like, share and subscribe so that you don't miss out any notification. We'll be here with the next chapter. Thank you.